Hey Hardy, 4th grade, Miss Grillo here. So glad you are back for another episode of Math with Miss Grillo. I hope you are doing well. So we are just going to jump right in. So this week we've been working on rounding, and if you've looked through your packet, you can probably tell that all of the math work in there is rounding. So if you'll give me 1 second, go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to look for the page in your packet that says Rounding Around Town. Okay, so that is the page that we are going to be doing some work out of today. All right, so now that you have found that page, we are going to go ahead and get started. So one of the most important things when you are doing any work, whether it is on a test or just a workbook page or anything, is to read the directions. So I have the directions up here, but if you want to go ahead and look down at your own paper, pause the video and read the directions to yourself. This is going to tell us what we are being asked to do on this page. All right, so if you need a little more time, go ahead and pause the video. If not, we're going to go on ahead. I'm going to read these directions out loud. It says right here, directions. Read the problems below and round to the nearest 1,000. All right, so what are the directions asking us to do? Very good. I heard it. We are rounding to the nearest 1,000, which means when we are working through these problems, we are always going to have to be looking for the thousands place. See, this is why following and reading directions is so important. This way we are doing the correct thing. All right, so the first problem we are going to go look at today is going to be problem number 2. It's going to be on the right side of your worksheet, and it is going to start with Mrs. Mop, okay? So once you have a finger on there, go ahead, take a second, read it to yourself. If you need a little bit more time, go ahead and pause the video. I am going to go ahead and move on, though. Question number 2 states, Mrs. Mop went to the hardware store for nails. A full bag of nails holds 2,416 nails. If Mrs. Mop fills her bag, about how many nails will she have? All right, so we're given a number of nails, and we are estimating or rounding to figure out about how many nails she will have in her bag. So we are going to take the same strategy as we used in our video yesterday to try and solve this problem. If you have not watched that video, I highly recommend you stop this video here and go back and watch it. It has some really good strategies that you can use when rounding numbers. All right, but as for right now, I'm going to go ahead and take my number out of my problem and write it right over to the side so that I can use it. So it is 2,416. All right, and just like we did in our video yesterday, I need to go ahead and find the thousands place and box it in. So which number is in the thousands place? The 2, very good, right? We have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands. I'm going to go ahead and box that 2 in because that is in our thousands place. And as the directions told us up here, we're rounding to the nearest 1,000. All right. Now, as mathematicians over here, we know when we are rounding to the thousands place, we have to look right next door. So that means we are looking to the place to the right. So in this case, what number is right to the right of this 2? Very good. And I'm going to underline that. That tells me that this is the number we're looking at to see whether this 2 stays the same or whether it goes up. All right, so just a quick refresher from our video yesterday. If we have a number over here that is a 1 through 4, what happens to the number we're rounding? It stays the same. Very good. And if we have a number 5 through 9, what happens? It rounds. It rounds up. All right. So, in this case, what number do we have to the right of this 2? Is it 1 through 4 or is it 5 through 9? It's a 4, right? So, what is going to happen to this 2? Is it going to stay the same or is it going to round up? It's going to stay the same. It's going to stay as a 2. Very nice. And like we learned from our video yesterday, everything after the number we round becomes a what? A 0. Very good. So how many zeros am I going to have in this problem? 3. 1 in the hundreds place, 1 in the tens place, and 1 in the ones place. All right. And then we know that any number before the number we round stays the same. In this case, do we have any numbers before the number we round? Nope. So we don't have to do anything. So we know that Miss Mop went to the hardware store for nails. A full bag of nails holds 2,416 nails. And if Miss Moop fills her bag, about how many nails will she have? Well, the about tells us to estimate or round. And we've decided, since we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, she has about 2,000 nails in her bag. All right. Good job, everyone. We are going to go ahead and move down to number 6. If you need a little bit more time, as always, feel free to pause the video. That is the great thing about YouTube. While the video is paused, actually take a second, read question number 6 to yourself, and then I will read it out loud to you. All right, so question number 6 states, Jaden and Jordan walked all through town. Their pedometer says they walked 11,092 steps. About how many steps did they walk? All right, so just some background knowledge for my friends who may not know. A pedometer is something that you can wear on your belt, and it does something similar that Apple Watches do or your phone does, and it just tracks how many steps you're taking. Okay, so that's something we used when I was younger, but now technology has advanced. So in your phone or in a watch or in your mom's watch or in your mom's phone, it actually has a pedometer that tracks how many steps you walk. So that is very cool. But it says that they walked 11,092 steps. So it is our job to round or estimate about how many steps they walked. So remember that about tells us to round or estimate. All right, and in this case, the same directions apply to this problem. So we are going to be rounding to the nearest what? Thousands. Very good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take my number and write it outside of this problem so that I can use it. 11,092. All right, and the next step, it is our job to figure out where our thousands place is. Go ahead and do that on your own. Box in that number. Where is our thousands place? All right, if you boxed in that second one, very good job. You're on the right track. So this is our thousands place. We have our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, ooh, and then a number past the thousands, our 10,000s place. All right, and just like this problem that we did over here, whenever we are rounding, we have to look to the right or right next door to figure out if the number is increasing or staying the same. All right, so in this case, the number right next door is a 0. So we have to figure out here, is 0 going to make this 1 jump all the way to a 2, or is it going to keep this 1 the same? Well, we can look over here, but Miss Grillo didn't tell you what to do if there's a 0. She said 1 through 4 and 5 through 9. So let's use our logic or our brain to try and figure this out. So we know that when the number next door is a 1 through 4, it's going to be closer to this number, whereas 5 through 9 is going to be closer to the next number. But what about a 0? If we have a 0 next door, is that going to be closer to the number we already have? Or is it going to help jump us to a new number? Something I like to do to try and figure this out is to look at just those 3 numbers. So we have 110 right here, 110, okay? So is it possible that the 0 is going to be closer to 120? Or is it going to be closer to 110? Well, duh, it's an easy answer. It's closer to 110 because it is 110. So when we have a 0, it is going to stay the same because it's right at that number. It's so close, okay? So this 0 tells us that we don't need to change our number. We can just leave it where it's at. All right, and the rest is going to stay the same. We know that everything after the number we rounded is going to become a what? A 0. So we have a 0 in the hundreds, we have a 0 in the tens, and we have a 0 in the ones. But we also know that any number after the number we rounded is going to stay the same. So, do we have any numbers after the number we rounded in this case? Yeah, we do. We have a 10,000 spot. And what is currently in that 10,000 spot? A 1. So, that is just going to stay the same. All right, so 11,092 rounds to 11,000. So we know that Jaden and Jordan, on their walk around town, walked about 1,000 steps. All right. Thank you so much for joining today. We went ahead and did 2 problems on our rounding around town. Remember that if we have a number that's, in this case, 0 through 4, it stays the same. And if we have a number that's 5 through 9, it rounds up. So I hope that, as well as using these strategies, can help you in when to round and how to round. Please, if you have any questions, leave a comment below this video, and I will do my best to try and help or make another video to support you. I'm so glad you were able to join me today. Make sure that you go ahead and finish the rest of this rounding around town video, or rounding around town worksheet, and the rest of the rounding in the packet. I'll catch you in our next video. Have a great day. Bye, guys.